Now, spin, weave, 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 go. Good girl. So when we're looking at the forehand throw, the grip is a little bit different than when we did our backhand. So for the backhand, remember, we had all 4 fingers under, we had our thumb on the top, and we're releasing the disc like this. The one thing that is similar is that we want to have a lot of wrist action on the throw. So now we're kind of doing the opposite of the backhand, because instead of going this way, now we're going this way. So when we're talking about the backhand, remember, it's important to have the disc, your wrist, your shoulders, and your hips all in line so I don't throw it into the ground or make it slice too much when I don't want to. The forehand throw is also the same thing. The only difference is I'm gonna hold it, usually 2 fingers under. I have 2 fingers stabilizing, hi sweetie. I have 2 fingers stabilizing on the side, and my thumb is kind of right on this ridge on the end, kind of holding it all together. I was talking to somebody recently who played ultimate frisbee, and they were saying they almost think that instead of the forehand, this shot should be called the wrist flick. And I kind of agree with that a little bit because it really makes you understand that this slingshot motion is what needs to happen. To get spin on the disc, to make it accurate, stable, and stay in the air longer, I really want to have a good snap on it, like so. So as I come in, you see my wrist and my arm pull back a little bit. One more time, don't watch the disc, just watch my hand, right? You see I come up and I almost whip it back a little bit. It's gonna take a little bit of practice, and you can throw it a couple different ways. If I wanna throw it further, again, I can turn, and we call it body sponsorship, right? I sponsor the throw with my legs, my shoulders, my hips, my core, and I rotate my whole body, and I still snap my wrist at the end. If I wanna do a shorter throw, I can really just do most of my arm and the wrist. So depending on, your dog's athleticism, how far away they are, where they're getting it from, you can vary how you're doing this. So the first way I'll show you, and I'll do this from this angle, because I really want you to see, it's really just my arm. I'm not gonna move my hips, I'm not gonna move my shoulders too much. And you see it kind of sliced, and that's because when I let it go, my wrist was tilted just a little bit. So Balana, come. Oh yeah, okay. So let's try this again. She's gonna take that other disc, so I'll do the leg work and go back out. So again, when I'm using just my arm and my wrist predominantly, I really wanna focus on keeping it straight. So last time, I hooked it this way a little bit. I'm really gonna try to keep my wrist flat. You'll see me kind of start from this position because I can get a little more snap on my wrist. When you first start, it might help, this is the way I started, is to snap it straight just from here. So when I come out, hi. You want to give this a shot? Ready? Around, go. So I still sliced a little bit, but we're not doing too bad. Let's try this one. She's gonna bring it back to me. Good girl, let's try again. Around, go. Good girl, so that one I got a little bit better. Good girl. Balana's very patient with me, so good girl. And if I want to throw it a little bit further, she's gonna go take a rest in the shade behind the camera. As if I want to throw a little bit further, again, I'm really just gonna turn my body, my hips, and my shoulders into a little bit. Just like that, and again, try not to slice it when you do it. We'll put a couple more demos in there where you can see me do this a little bit more successfully. So check it out. The first trick that we're going to pair with the forehand and the backhand is the through the legs. I really like this trick because it transitions into leg weaves very easily, and you can actually do a lot with it, and your pup will be very challenged and also get good exercise doing it. So when I start for this cue, I can, and look, if you're doing a tricks class, because big secret is that disc is tricks with the disc instead of treats. There's a couple ways to do this. Whenever we talk about trick training in general, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do things, and all of them are correct and all of them are incorrect depending on how you communicate with your dog. So we want to start to understand the concept of transferring our, or I should say not transferring, but transitioning ourselves from getting used to using our voice and our hands to what's going to end up being now a leg cue. So when I want Balana to go through, or you want your pup to go through your legs, what I'm going to do is step like this. Notice I'm bending my knee, my toes are pointed outward, and they're gonna recognize this profile over time. So when I first start this trick, if she's sitting in front of me here, I'm gonna step like so, and I can lure her with the disc. Or I can drop a treat, or I can lure with a treat. Again, depending on your dog, where they're at, where you're at, what your goals are, all of these are fine to do. When we do this, what's important is that we recognize when dogs have sort of a fear and aversion to going under things or thresholds. So you might need to take it slow with your pup and really encourage them with high value treats. If you see your dog approach and then immediately back out, it's okay, right? We want to reset them, give them treats, get their mind off it, and try again. One thing that might help is building up with other tricks that they're already confident with, and then ending with that trick to go through. Big celebration, big reinforcement at the end. But what we really want, again, is for us to start thinking ahead, and instead of thinking of, oh, I'm going to tell my pup 1, 2 and lead them through, eventually I'm just going to come here. I usually say wherever the dog is, my far side leg is the one that's going to step. So for example, when you're looking at me, if Balana is in your position, I'm going to step this way, or I'm going to step this way. I don't want to step across my own leg like this. One, there's not a lot of room, and if you have a big dog, you're gonna need the extra space for him to get through. And then again, this is gonna be harder to transfer to other cues. So when we start, just one time through. Once your pup comes through, you can treat and reward, and this is actually the beginning to doing leg weaves. So we're gonna take a look at that next. So now what I can do is start to get her to walk through my legs going forward. Balana. Good girl. Ready? Can you get it? And then, can you get it? Yes, go. Good girl. Good girl. I know that was a wimpy throw, but you look a little bit tired. Good girl. So again, one more time. I would start by just doing a singular. So I just have her do it once and reward. Once she does it once, I'm going to take a big step, and if you look at my knee and my foot, it's going to mimic the way my foot stepped out the first time. Through, go. Good girl. Now, whatever command you use, so Balana knows the command go for when she should leave. She knows the difference between through and the difference between weave. So you want to make sure whatever you're doing, make sure you're reinforcing that behavior so the dog knows what you want it to do first off of your body cues, and then assign the word to it. Whether we're talking about manners stuff, whether we're talking about dog sports, we want to make sure 100% that the dog is associating the cue that we're giving, the verbal cue, the body cue, with the action that we want. So make sure that behavior is down tight, and then you can start coming forward. Just like so. Next, we're going to look at weaves in place, and we're going to look at weaves going backwards, which if you understand how this works, it's going to be super easy for you guys. So when we want our pup to come through, a lot of this has to do with understanding how we're going to lure them. So this is going to be really good to practice by yourself. So for example, if I taught my dog to come through this way and I tossed the treat behind me, or maybe they started behind me and I tossed the treat this way to come through, that's fine. But what I want to make sure is when I want them to do these figure eights in between my legs, I need to control how far out they're going before I tell them to come back in. I don't want my dog to get most of the way to where you are before they realize, oh man, I need to turn around and come back and do this again. I want to keep it nice and tight. So when we first start, I actually sat and put Balana in the other room and practiced leading her around just like so. Right? Once your dog kind of understands that, you can stop luring from so low and kind of just make the motions above. And then eventually, once your pup gets it, Balana and I transfer this to a leg cue. So as I want her to come around, I will kick my leg a little bit, give her the weave command, and she will come back around. So when we do it, you'll see it look like this. In fact, let's check it out right now. Good girl. Around. Wait. Stay. Weave. 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 Go. Good girl. That was very good. So you see how I'm guiding her a little bit this way and I'm kind of kicking my legs up. Hey, let me see. Oh, good girl. And again, if I were to lure her through, this is what it looked like at the very beginning. Balana, ready? Weave. Right here. Weave. She's very fast. So it's actually, it's hard to go backwards with her because she knows she's jumping the gun on me. But again, eventually your dog will start to get this as we go through and then we transition. So next, we're gonna look at how to get my dog to weave through my legs walking backwards. All right, are you ready? Let's do a demo first because you're into it. Are you ready? And weave, 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 go. Good girl. That was very good. That was very good. Ready? Wait. And weave, 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 go. You got it, you got it, you got it. Good girl. Okay, why don't you go rest? Go get a sip of water. So you can see when I want my pup to weave backwards, to her, what she's recognizing is actually the same as going forward. So when I have her come here like this, even when I step backwards, that's what she's gonna see coming back around. So if I go forwards, and I want you to pay attention to how my leg looks when she goes through this way. Balana, weave, 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 go. You can see whether I do a singular or I do multiples, it looks the same to her each way she's coming through. When I go backwards, it's the same thing. The key is to make sure that you're moving your legs quick enough and getting her to go in the right direction. So let's start from this here direction. Balana, stay. So now when I step back with this leg, my next step is gonna be back. The hard thing is she might be used to going one direction. So when Balana first started this, she had to get used to going around my back leg the long way. So you'll see what I mean in a second. Balana, ready? Can you weave, 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 go. Other way, other way, other way. Sorry, that was my bad. Good girl. Well, your weaves look great. My throw wasn't so great, but you did awesome. Good girl. Around, stay. So again, even if I start with my body this way, weave, 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 go. Good girl. Good job, you little flying dingo. Very good. Okay, go rest. Nice job. So there you have it. Once your dog understands the concept of a weave and you understand the concept of luring and transitioning to leg cues, it's all kind of the same thing. So have fun, and if you have any questions, you know where to find us.